Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're painting this giant and we're going to try and paint him like the Skyrim giants. We're also going to paint his friend here. Let's get into it. First we're shaking my white. Now we're dry brushing and putting it straight onto the model. Here's what he looks like after, and I'm also touching up the areas where more light would hit. So I'm just making them a lot wider and making sure I get rid of all that black. Next I'm taking Mechanicus Grey and I'm going to spread it all over his body. And most of the giants in Skyrim are quite grey. I would later regret this and realise that it needed a bit of colour, so that's why I'm taking Adrex Earthshade, and we're going to try and bring back a bit more of a fleshy colour with that. Next we're taking Pale Flesh and Reclan Flesh Shade, and we're also painting over that grey again. I realised how bad that grey was, even though the Skyrim giants kind of have that grey aesthetic, and yeah, just went for a more lively, proper flesh colour. We unfortunately had a couple of casualties here, but that's alright, it's going to make them way easier to paint later on. So I was out of brown, so I ran down to my local game traders to pick up some brown, and yeah, then we started putting browns back onto the giant. As you can see, his flesh colour is much better than that dull grey, and it's really working now. Also, I can paint the leather parts now, which if you don't have a brown, you obviously can't do, so yeah, that was good. And with my wide variety of browns now, I can start filling in all these other coloured browns. So I used a couple of extra colours here, mainly to break up the brown, and really a giant's just going to be using whatever he can to make some pants. So now I'm just painting some toes with the first undercoat of white, then just a brown wash, and then some bleach bone. And here I'm just doing the same. Taking the same bleach bone, we are just painting some of the stitches here. And there we go, we have one pretty decent looking giant so far. So first I tried using Vallejo's Carbon Black here, which is more of a charcoal black, and it definitely wasn't working, so I switched over to Citadel's Chaos Black, which is absolutely perfect. And there you go, pretty good. Now taking some Necron compound, we are painting the shields and all the other metal parts. Here we're just adding some rust type effects to the shield, because you know he wouldn't have a new shield. And we're adding some blue to the horse, but you know, you can add whatever you want. And I'm also going to add some white to the white areas, and then I also decided to paint the shields as well. So I may be cheating here, but if anybody is sick of trying to paint letters, pick up a Gundam marker because it makes it so much easier. Also, I am tattooing the giant, and to paint this, I know some people can do it, but not me, so I'm just going to stick with my Gundam marker. I almost forgot about this boy as well. I just went for random colours on this, which you should think about every colour that you're putting onto your models. So we'll show you what happens in a sec. And without realising it, I had painted Mario. So yeah, make sure you think about the colours that you're using. Also, this poor guy, he's got a bald patch and he's also been picked up by a giant, so he must have the worst of luck. So I held his hand here for this next bit so he didn't get scared, but I ended up doing a wash over the whole thing to tone it down a lot more so he doesn't look so much like Mario. So he's got a couple of friends back here as well. I stayed away from the blues and reds this time and just did some brown colours. Yeah, I didn't want to make that mistake again. But you know, who knows? Maybe Luigi's in this back pocket here after all. And then of course I gave them a brown wash, as I have done with everything, just to tone it down. It gets into all those crevices to shade them, and yeah, it just turns out really good. So this next thing had been happening to me a lot, which is the glue seems to get stuck in one of the ends of the Citadel Warhammer glue. So what I did here is just take a mechanical pencil, shove that in there, and that seemed to fix everything. And I'm not really sure how that works, but it totally fixed it, and now we can glue our cow back on. Now that our cow is securely back on, I had to do 3 coats of white over her to get rid of that black background. That is one of the unfortunate things about using a black base, but that's alright. We got the goat back on as well, and he's in like a little leather pouch, a little leather jumpsuit, so we just painted that brown for him. Now we're just painting the black spots on for the cow and using the bleach bone again to do the stitching on the goat, as well as the rope around the cow's feet. Taking some grey, we're just going to paint the rocks here. Then I decided to dry brush the ground brown, or a different brown to the one that's on there. And now we're just finishing it off with a light white and then a brown ink so that it looks kind of muddy. Almost forgot about this little guy. As you can see, I'm using bleach bone. There's not going to be any bold colours this time. Well, maybe just one. And then to finish it all off, of course, a wash of brown. Whoops, and I almost forgot this one. And then we have it. One Skyrim giant, kind of. And here he is all finished. Unfortunately, he didn't turn out like the Skyrim giant that I was kind of going for, but I am quite happy with the way that he turned out. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and if you've liked this video, please hit the thumbs up, that would be awesome. And if you want to see more content like this, please hit the subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.